My work, in many ways, is some attempt, some struggle, some ongoing battle with material to, in some ways, defeat it, in some ways, make it what it's not. I see making sculpture in this way not as the making of objects, but as the rendering of matter to a particular condition. Stainless steel is a material just like any other material. And what I'm interested in it for is the way that it seems to disappear when it's highly polished, almost become either completely liquid or so camouflaged in its environment that it's as if it's not there. What one's really left with is a kind of emptiness. It's a kind of non-object.
Anish is someone whose work has been seen relatively little by a British audience, despite his very substantial international reputation. We're hoping that it's an exhibition which takes on the very particular and very challenging nature of the Hayward's spaces.
This installation is much more difficult than most we come across. Since I've been here in 7 years, this is the most difficult. We never normally have major structural changes, which we've had with this exhibition. We've had a lot of props for other heavy weights. We have so many contractors here, so many people installing. It's a very difficult operation.
The big problem with the Hayward Gallery is the fact that it has a very clearly defined upstairs and downstairs. I found it necessary to link the two. In talking with Claudius Silverstream, he came up with the solution that we have at present.
I suggested a radical transformation of the existing Hayward Gallery building by constructing 5 independent gallery rooms within the Hayward, almost making, metaphorically speaking, a labyrinth for the viewer. We will move from one gallery to another, focusing on Anish's work rather than the Hayward as we know it as a building. This is concrete and massive energy.
Architecture, I think, is something which is an interior experience. It's also an exterior experience, but it's the way in which it's interior that interests me. One might almost say that a building is a metaphor for the self. So that notion has allowed me to explore a series of ideas where the architecture, the walls, the floor, form a kind of skin beyond which, or through which, into which, a kind of bodily interior exists. What I'm interested in is red, which is the color of the earth, a color of earth, and making it into sky. It's a work about transformation, about changing one state of things into another state of things. Dragon. I made dragon in Japan. I went in search of riverbed stones which had a particular kind of corrosion. By a small transformation, simply by changing the surface of the stone, simply by putting a coat of paint on it, this skin changes the whole experience that we have of the object. What it does is rob it of its weight.
Over a period of a week, I've seen Anish install a major exhibition, and he's absolutely extraordinary at manipulating space. And for the first time I realized how important architecture and space is for Anish. It's as if he's contained this fragile aesthetic moment within an individual work.
Many of Kapor's sculptures act as metaphorical gateways to a place of spirituality, or gateways even to the interior of the body. They are places which transport you out of yourself into an area where you've never been before, and where physically you cannot enter, but spiritually you can. And this relates very much to his stated interest in the Kabbalistic term makom. Makom is a place where humans cannot enter. The sculpture itself becomes a sacred place.
After years of working with darkness, blackness, blueness, I wanted to see if it was possible to make something in which the main purpose was light. So the White Dark series are the first works that I made which deal with light. What I found there is that it was necessary to do something else which was different, which was it was necessary to pierce the work, to go through the object, to, in a sense, emerge the other side of it. All the void works have an end. In order to be of the particular kind of density that they are, they need to be ended. The White Dark series is open.
They're not to do with one's perception of light, they're to do with one's perception of the absence of light in relation to what surrounds them. This is why they have such a strange, sublime, poetic effect when you peer into them. You get drawn into them in the same way as you get drawn into the dark voids.
Then, of course, he becomes much more sophisticated about it. And you can see that in his most recent polished metal works, when actually the work is no longer a container for the aesthetic effect. It's actually integral to the aesthetic effect.
Kapor's looking for a work which is more contemplative, which unfolds slowly, in a tradition of art which goes back over many centuries. The spectator stands before the sculpture and has a perceptual experience which turns into a bodily experience.
I think there will be considerable surprise at this exhibition, partly because of the spectacular nature of it. I mean, it's a chance to see his work in depth and some very major and ambitious pieces. I think also what will come across is the essential continuity of what he's doing as an artist in all these different forms on different scales and with different materials.
One of the things I'm very concerned to do is to not explain the work. I think the work needs to be experienced, and whatever I have to say about it is superfluous to your experience of it.